Hey everybody, welcome to another recap of Survivor Nicaragua. Last week, Wendy Jo was sent home to the goats. We hardly knew ye, Wendy. Alright, so at the Oldies tribe, Espada, Jimmy T, aka Uncle Leo from Seinfeld, you know who I'm talking about, with a really bad wig on, is jealous of Jimmy Johnson. But wait, that is small potatoes compared to what's going on over at Flor. Naonka is chatting up Sash. And Sash just happens to be half black. Who cares? Alright? Apparently he does, because his grand plan is to take all of the minorities, or as many as he can, to the end. What? Excuse me? What did you just say, Sash? I almost fell off the sofa. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Let me just say, if that was a white person up there saying that they wanted to take all the white people to the end, all of hell would have been unleashed. Okay. At Espada, Jill was eating snails and rolling her eyes. So apparently to Crazy Holly, that meant that they were inedible. And Jill, being the nice person that she is, offers some to Holly, but Holly thought that she was really trying to poison her or something with the snails, that they weren't able to be eaten. Hello, have you been to France? Alright, so in return, Holly decides to steal Dan's shoes and fill them with sand. But wait, that's not good enough. She decides to throw them in the water. Well, those shoes weren't just any shoes. They were $1,600 shoes. And she's feeling pretty bad when she finds that out. So her guilt gets the best of her, and she comes clean to Dan and everyone else at a little tribal meeting. And everybody pretty much thinks she's mental. But Marty's willing to forgive her. Or was it Jimmy? Jimmy T was willing to forgive her. But guess what? It want your shoes, Jimmy T. Alright, so at Flor, there's some thievery going on because Naonka's socks are missing. So she's pissed. She's like, I had a sock in each of my shoes and now they're gone. So what do? You take somebody else's. She took Fabio's, aka Judd's, socks. And then when he called her out for taking them, she got pissed at him and started like friggin' verbally attacking him. What is wrong with that girl? There's like crazy people on each tribe. Alright, well, at Espada, Holly is still freaking out. In fact, she's in major freak out mode right now, and she wants to go home. Until Jimmy Johnson gives her the old pep talk. You know, it's like halftime at the football game and blah, blah, blah. Want to quit the team? No, you're staying, Holly. Alright, so it's time for the immunity challenge. And once again, Flor marches in. I'm just saying, it's really gay. Alright, and I don't mean homosexual. Alright, so it's a mud obstacle course this week. You gotta find 4 balls in the hay after you get through the mud. And then you have to bounce them back on these little shields and get them in a barrel. And whoever finishes first gets immunity. But wait, it's also a reward challenge. You have your choice between a tarp and a rope or another treasure chest of fishing gear. Alright, so the Oldies, if you remember from last week, have the medallion of power and they haven't used it yet. And this week, it's going to buy them 1 ball. Not 1 ball to get, to the bouncing part. 1 complete ball, which means they could sit out one of their weak players. So the Oldies wise up and they finally use it. Alright, so Flor is sitting out Naonka. Why? I don't know. Because she's a gym teacher and she's probably at least mildly athletic. I don't get it. And Dan sits out for Espada. Alright, so the Oldies ended up really needing this advantage because Holly took forever to find the ball in the hay. I mean, it really took forever. But the youngsters made up a lot of time. So it was pretty much even most of the time. But then they lost that lead in the end to the Oldies because they really sucked at the bouncing part. They chose the fishing gear, the winners, which was the Oldies, as the reward. And somebody from the Flor is going to be going home, which is a shock to them because they thought they were going to run this whole show. Alright, so at Espada, Holly is rejuvenated. She is feeling great that she didn't quit. And they find a clue for the hidden immunity idol. Well, nobody could figure out the clue at first, so they were all digging around all these trees because it said it was somewhere near a tree. But Jill actually read the clue and figured out that it was tree mail. So she told Marty to go get it. Dan tagged along. Did anybody happen to notice how Dan was digging? It was like a freaking cat in a litter box. Eventually Jill came and helped them again, and Marty found it. So now Jill and Marty have the hidden immunity idol. And they're going to make it work, designers. All right, so at Flor, somebody's got to go home. And Shannon is noticing that Brenda and Chase are spending a lot of time together, and he really thinks that he should break up that little bitty alliance, especially since Chase is supposed to be in an alliance with him. And Judd just wants Naonka gone because she's a straight up bitch. Well, Naonka wants Shannon or Judd gone because she hates their ass faces. All right, so Naonka pulls Brenda aside and tells her about the whole Sash minority plan, about how he wants to take the minorities to the end, and she likes that. Racist. There's a whole tribe full of crazy people over there. All right, so Chase tells Brenda that they want to get rid of her. And she, in turn, tries to convince him that he needs to get rid of Shannon. So it's tribal council time, and Chase is in a bind because he's in two alliances. He's in an alliance with Brenda, and he's in an alliance with Shannon, so he doesn't know what to do. But Shannon changes all that. He immediately calls out Chase and Brenda. Jeff almost fell off his rock, okay? No other time had such hell been unleashed at the beginning of tribal council after the first question. So Chase feels that he needs to disclose his two alliances. He says that he's in an alliance with Brenda and with Shannon. Amateurs, this is not a Big Brother confessional. This is Survivor. You're supposed to keep this close to the vest, you know? Horrible. All right, so then out of nowhere, Shannon asks Sash if he's gay. What? What is wrong with this tribe? And then he qualifies it by saying that New York is full of gay people. Yeah, so is everywhere. All right, so Naonka comes clean too. She's like, I don't like Fabio. And guess what? Fabio doesn't like you either. And his name is Judd, by the way. Then everybody gets pissed at Jeff, and they're like, can we vote? All right, well, Kelly B says her piece first, and then they vote. And Shannon ended up getting voted off by at least 6 votes. Did anybody happen to notice as he walked away from tribal council that there was a graveyard there? That was the first time on Survivor that I've ever seen a graveyard next to the tribal council. It was really eerie. All right, so this tribe is all kind of crazy. Who would have thought the oldies would have been the sensible ones, you know? Next time, Naonka wants to push Kelly B so hard that her leg falls off. Okay, till next week, much love.